Hello guys, welcome to my new tutorial. In this video we will be painting a Chinoiserie vase with beautiful roses. I hope I pronounced it correctly. This is real-time step-by-step video, and watch until the end and learn how I create those beautiful textures using splatters, washes and loose technique. I hope you enjoy it and give it a try. Subscribe for more and enjoy creating. I will start with a pencil and just sketch the approximate composition. I'm gonna start with the vase. And it's gonna have handles on the sides. So I'm gonna have larger flowers. And this one's gonna be more as a side view. And we're gonna have one more on the left. And all that will be greenery around, and I will do it with watercolors. Let's get to painting. So I will be doing the greenery, the leaves and stems around together with the flowers, but first I'm gonna start a little bit with the leaves around to get that loose start. I'm going with wet on dry and undersea green. Just gonna drop in some more water. I'm going around the flowers, but I will make them bleed together for the first wash. I would like to have that loose effect. And I will use my water bottle and just splatter. Now with ochre, rose, and cadmium yellow, I have that pretty like orangey coral color. Gonna give another spray here, and I will just start painting the first wash, letting that bleed a little bit, and go with pink. Just drop in that ochre rose, and this flower will be pink. Adding more water here. So I'm gonna stop that green bleeding a little bit. Going to my center flower, drop in that pink all over. Gonna go with more pink and darker red. And remember, the center of the flowers most of the time are darker. So I'm just dabbing in some darker red here. Very loose. So giving it nice bleed. Going with yellow, and gonna do more of that pinkish orange color. Dab in some more that pretty orangey with pink. And here I'm gonna give a splatter. I'm gonna add more pink and splatter right on my flowers. So we're gonna go with more pink. I think I want them to be a little bit brighter. So I'm just dabbing in more of that ochre rose. Gonna wait for now. Gonna do the vase with just ultramarine blue. Giving that first wash, not too dark. So I'm mostly painting the left side, the shadow one, and I'm gonna keep the right lighter and leave the highlight. Okay, now we're gonna do handles. Dabbing in more ultramarine. And I'm gonna do like a pattern of stripes. And I'm slightly curving in the shape of vase. The stripes. So fixing that handle, and with clean brush, damp, tapping off paper towel, I want to lift in between. Let's go back to greenery while it's still wet. I'm going with perylene green here. And just dabbing with tip of my brush, holding like by the end of the brush almost, and it's gonna give you very like loose, not too much control. And this is what we need here. Just dabbing around that darker green, and gonna go with lemon yellow and add some of that bright limeish green here and there, just keeping it very loose. Now I will let it dry and do details. So the first wash is dry here, and I'm gonna be adding some brightness, some darker values in the flowers. I'm going with ochre rose and the orange I had earlier, dabbing off some water, and we'll do the layers, just touching lightly and creating the beautiful petals. So remember, we're keeping the center darker, and I'll go with darker color in a minute. Beautiful. Now I'm gonna go with that magenta color and dab in some in the center. So we have like a mixture of dry and wet here, so it's slightly bleeding, and this is what we need. And I will go with alizarin crimson, dab off, and just give it a few dabs in the center again, so we have that gradually creating that gradient from darker to lighter pink. I would like to add more warmth into these reds, so I'm gonna go with yellow and splatter some yellow on that pink, and it creates a beautiful orangey and yellow tone. And with damp brush, I'll just slightly spread around, and the entire bouquet, it looks a lot warmer now and I love it. So let's add some interesting details, just some loose lines here and there, some stems and buds with drier brush. I love the liner brush, just add some interesting details around. So I'm going with greens and just intuitively adding that kind of scrabble, not going on the flowers, but creating those interesting lines. And now I can just loosen up some of them if it's too liney, if it's too shapy, but I like some shapes in my flowers, so just go with darker green around, so adding darker values and making the pink flowers pop. Pretty. Now we're gonna go with yellow, and we can splatter some more of that yellow, greenish yellow. So what else? Let's add some kind of looking buds with same colors we used, keeping the bottom of the flower of the bud darker. Let's add a few more here and there, maybe more orangey, keeping it loose, not too much details. And I would like to add a little bit of blue flowers, like a delphiniums. Let's do a stem. And now with same ultramarine, I'm gonna be just dabbing. Too wet. Some random petals. Gradually going whiter at the bottom. So same here, starting with just one, then two, then three, and building the flower whiter towards the bottom. And this is what we need. Very simple, very loose. Maybe a tiny bit of pink into that, so it gives us that purplish shade. And now that blue beautifully balances with our vase. And now we're gonna go with indigo, really dark blue. And I'm just gonna dab in a couple of stamens in the flower. Okay, beautiful. And the vase is dry. I'll just add a few darker details. So I'm going again with indigo, with tip of the brush. Just gonna add a couple of lines. Boom. Creating like a pattern. I'm gonna probably use the liner brush. Yeah, let's see. I'm gonna start like creating like floral patterns with some leaves. No, this is too thin. I'm gonna go with number 4 because I would like to have some thicker, some thinner lines in my floral patterns. And I will add a little bit of ultramarine. So I'm gonna be varying these colors, ultramarine and indigo. Just using tip of my brush, pressing down, just making some swirls, going from this side, using tip of my brush and pressing, just creating some cool, interesting patterns using ultramarine and indigo. So some leaves and more swirls. Okay, go with ultramarine. Some dabs. Yeah, I see I'm not going into much details. I'm creating some more detailed, some more like loose patterns. Adding some leaves. And now with side of the brush, I'm just gonna add that shadow right on top. I'm not afraid if it's gonna bleed, if it's gonna ruin my pattern. This is what I need. And going on top of that stripes again and adding that darker value. Okay, I'm gonna add more darker indigo on this side and a little bit here on the left and the bottom for the shadow. Let's add some shadow. So I'm going with the same colors. I'm just gonna do very simple, like shadow. Gonna smudge some with water. And I'm gonna go with darker under the vase again. Okay, let it work. So I'm gonna let it dry and I'm almost done. I'm gonna add a few details with liner brush and we will be done. So we have dry painting and I would like to add slightly more of that bright pink with orange on some of the petals with side of the brush. Just dab using tip, side. Use the variations of the strokes. Some thin with your tip, with side, and that's about it. And now with green color, I would like to add a few stems, connect these purple flowers. And the final thing you guys know I like to do is the white gouache. I'm gonna use my liner brush, white gouache, and add final details, a few highlights, just intuitively here and there, inside, right on dark of that, on top of my dark stamens. And I'm gonna do on a vase in that pattern. Just slightly, just a few lines. Don't overdo it. And I will splatter some of that white gouache on top. And just a little bit to create the texture. And you're gonna see at the end those beautiful textures that I create with gouache, with splatters of green and yellow. And I need to splatter a little bit more on my vase. So now with my clean brush, damp, I'm just gonna lift some of them and smudge them. I need to fix that handle a little bit, so because it's kind of disconnected, I would like to connect it to the vase. But still, I'm keeping it loose and maybe darken the bottom right under the flowers, and that's about it. And I'm going to sign my painting here. Here is our beautiful vase with roses. I hope you guys enjoyed it and gonna give it a try. Always feel free to ask any questions, and I love hearing your comments. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Give it a like if it was helpful. Thank you again, and I'll see you in my next video.